Good morning, good evening, everyone, wherever you are in the world. My name is Nora Bassin, and tonight is our forensic night. Welcome to our forensic night. Forensic is the a business training um, for us, or any business actually it will help. So before I bring on our speaker for tonight, let me just introduce him to you. Um, Mr. For those of you who are new, let me introduce to you our founder and CEO, Mr. Ramin Misgarlo. He's the creator of the Forensic Networker and rated as one of the world's top master trainers and mentor to thousands and the ultimate focus and target of the Forensic Networker program is to help people escape from a 9-to-5 job tyranny. Forensic is the sole foundation that is absolutely necessary to succeed in direct sales. However, as Ramin so emphatically points out, the Forensic Networker program is for the light-hearted or some-timer. It's for serious direct sales only, for serious people only who wants to make money. It is not for your status quo in MLM 101 training, but forensic is the industry's first serious business plan for those who look to succeed within 18 to 24 months. So Ramin built four multi-million dollar network marketing business as the master distributor and becoming a self-made millionaire at age 25 before founding his own network marketing business. So if anyone can teach us how it is done, how to become a millionaire, he is the one. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please help me welcome, as I am reading his bio, actually, we know him as the man with a golden heart. He's the coach, trainer, mentor, and author, as well as the founder and CEO. He is the revolutionary CEO in the industry. And it's none other than our president, Mr. President himself, Mr. Ramin Misgarlo. Hi, Ramin, can you hear me?
Hi Nora, how are you?
I'm good. Take
It's
it
like
away.
been a while since I've not been here. So actually we're on YouTube Live as well. If you guys want to join me there. And good to be here. All right. So listening to the news, it's bad news after bad news. You guys know this. Stock market is crashing, crypto market is crashing, real estate slowing down. Inflation is high. They're talking about the recession coming. I look forward to that, by the way, because recession is good for MLM. But the people who are not part of this type of industry is a bad times are coming. Now, this recession is not going to be like the 2008 where we bounced back within a year. This one, they say, is going to be more like 2001 and 2, the last 2 or 3 years. So you got to be paying attention to these things. If you don't pay attention to it, then you get caught in a bad spot. And so I'm always paying attention. And my entire life, I've always been like that. Part of the reason why, I found myself in a good position is because I'm always looking for pitfalls ahead. And and now I actually look forward to it because I'm talking about how inflation is going to hit and recession is going to come. And over the last 33 years, for me, it has always been that, in MLM, we look forward to recessions. In fact, countries with low economical, strength generally do well in MLM because more people are hungry and they're looking to more entrepreneurial. They have no choice, got to make money. Countries like Canada and parts of Europe, and they tend to do, not so well in MLM when things are strong because they've got a stronger economy. But we've had in my 33 years, I've seen Canada crash at least 2 times, and a business explodes in Canada as well. So they're talking about inflation in the 2000s, 2020s. It's going to be a lot worse than 2010s. We know that to be true. And despite what the government puts out, the consumer index, the real inflation is about 15 to 20%. Houses about 50%. It's ridiculous. Houses are going up like crazy. I can give you an example of that. I bought a house for my mother last year, and I bought it for 713,000 in Ottawa. It was, even then it was a multiple offer. It was like 699. I bought 713. It was a year and a half ago. And mom, it was too big for mom, so I had a pool, stuff like that. So we put her in the penthouse, and I'm selling the same house a year and a half later, and it's been listed for 1.3 million. So, I mean, in a year and a half, are you kidding me? Like, that's like a 50% inflation. It's like that's the type of economy that we have and where it's going. So they're talking about, of course, how people are going to deal with this, because are you going to survive it, right? So they're looking at the housing, the rent, the food, the inflation, and what's happening, and how faster than ever before, people are getting poorer and poorer. The lifestyle is getting smaller and smaller. The lifestyle is shrinking. People's economy is shrinking. Your personal economy is shrinking. And it's just about to get worse. And they're worried about the housing thing, because as the interest rates go up, do a lot of people can even afford to keep their homes, right? So there's a lot of that stuff going on. We're not talking because we want to be negative, but we just have to talk about it, because we're in an employment business, right? As in Opulence, we're in an employment business. We allow people to become self-employed. We take a lot of the metrics of the employment out there, and we find that's shrinking as well. A lot of people don't want to go to work, or they don't like their job, or a lot of businesses are closing down and so forth. So if we take a look, I want to focus on one thing, because this affects everybody. If you're looking at about 15% inflation, well, let's take a look at that. I did some math, just so maybe put you in the forefront of what's coming, right? What's coming. Because we tend to, get by. I mean, use credit cards, line of credits, whatever, right? And the debt is building up. And we don't realize it because we always feel like something is going to happen, and somehow things get better. Well, it never does. And then you find yourself completely stressed a year or two down the road, and full of debt. You have to refinance your home. Maybe you have to consolidate your debt. This cycle is not new. It's been going on for 30 years, but I mean, it's going to get worse now because of the inflation and everything else that's going on. By the way, the inflation thing is not going to go away. I know they talk about how they're going to try to bring it down. It just won't happen, because the world has changed quite a lot. So we're going to find ourselves, in situations that was there in same cities like Tokyo or Manhattan. I mean, this stuff is happening around the world. It's been going on for a long time in certain parts of the world. I mean, Paris. I mean, there are places that they've had this type of inflation for a long time. I mean, Tokyo has been going on for 30 years, right? So we didn't feel it in other parts of the world, but it's now coming everywhere. It's coming everywhere. So when I came to Canada, it was 1978. So we bought a house through the bank, and our interest rate was 10.5%. I mean, you probably shake your head like, wow, like, is that a real mortgage? Like, yeah, that's what it was at the time. As a matter of fact, just before that, it was like at 13 to 14%. So at 10.5 was normal. So when I tell people now the mortgage will hit 7-8%, they're like, how could it be? Like, it was just 2% that not too long ago. Well, yes, but today, if you went to go and get a mortgage, like 4.5%, right? So if you're on a variable mortgage, you should go lock it up as soon as you can. But even if you're not, but if a mortgage comes to an end, can you refinance? So you got to think ahead on that. So I started thinking, okay, let's look at this. I mean, if you're a retiree I don't know where you're on, which part of the world you're on, but retirees, the pension plan doesn't pay much, right? You already know that. So I see my mother's pension a lot. Like, it really just pays her cell phone. So, I mean, she doesn't have to pay a cell phone. I take care of it. But I'm just saying, it really isn't much, right? So, if somebody was making, say, $1,000 a month, and it's not enough, but that's what they used to living on, right? They used to living on that. At this time, maybe the house is paid for or something. So if you're on a pension, making about 1,000 a month, if we take the 15% inflation, which is really low, it's really higher than that. It's not higher than that. Then that means in order for you to keep your lifestyle how it was, you need to make an extra 15% a year, right? Certainly, your pension is not going to go up by 15%. This doesn't go up. So what do you do if you're a retiree and you got your pension and every year your expenses go up by 15%, then what do you do, right? That means you have to increase your income by 15%, right? So, I mean, if you're a retiree, I suppose you can go get a job. I think a lot of people don't want to do that. You work all your life, so you don't have to do that, right? But it's not hard at all in our business to go make an extra $150 a month, right? It's not hard at all. So I'm going to go through some stages because the world's going through a tough place, and it's going to affect everybody. And a lot of people don't have an option. Like a lot of retirees don't want to go work. They don't want to go to work. So there's no option for them. But so what happens every year, they're going to get, it's going to get harder and harder for them. They have to reduce their lifestyle. They have to shrink their lifestyle more and more because the pension money every year buys them less and less of the things that they need and want, right? So, where the future is heading now is there's going to be a group of people, the masses, that are going to the lifestyle is going to get shrink. As they're going to get poorer and poorer because inflation it's a reality. It's a real thing, right? So we got the masses are going to find more debts, less lifestyle, more pressure, more stress. That becomes the masses because inflation, the monetary energy of inflation is much higher than and the monetary energy of a job or pension, or even when you get paid from, unless you have a lot of investments, even that doesn't really matter because you could have millions in investment. We just had a big crash, and it's going to be even a bigger crash. It's a tough time out there. There's not much options out there, but in our business, it's not that difficult. So to make $150 in our business is not that difficult. So you got two types of people. You got the masses; they're going to have a hard time next 2 to 3 years, and then you have, distinct groups. For whatever the reason, they're doing very well. So that's fine. Maybe you're in the right industry, whatever, right? They're doing very well. So you're going to have this wealth creation in one sector, right? These are the people who want the best medicine, the best nutrition, and best bag, and the best watch, and the best car, and luxury. So we see that, right? I mean, luxury is booming. We see that because there's that section of the world that's growing. They're doing very well. COVID or not, they're just doing very well, right? But then you got the other side where, the masses, they're really struggling, and it's going to get tougher. It's going to get tougher. So, I start to think about this, and if you're not self-employed, if you're not in Opulence, if you're not in MLM, what options do you have? I mean, if you make $1,000 a month as a retiree, how do you make an extra $150 a month? It's not. They don't have an option. Somebody in the 70s and 80s and 90s, they really don't have an option unless they rely on family members, right? Year after year after year. It's a pretty scary thoughts. You think that as inflation, by the way, the inflation is going to be going, it's ongoing. It's not a new phenomenon. It's been on since 1950s, it's accelerated 1970s, and it's getting worse and worse, right? So next 10 or 15 years, you're gonna think about it, what is retirees gonna do? So it's hard. So if they're making extra thousand a month, if they're making 1,000 pension, it's not hard for a retiree to say, I want to make $150 a lot, but it's global. We're going to talk about that, how they can do that. This is a perfect business for people who are retired. Truly is, because we're at the end of the day, we're in the socialized business, right? And retirees, that's all they do. They socialize all day long. They're retired. They're supposed to socialize all day long, So, and by doing that, they generate a lot of conversations and generate a lot of sales. And to make $150 a month to supplement your pension to meet the inflation, it's not that difficult. It's just not that difficult. And here's the best part. You may say, well, $150 is not a lot, but if you only make 1,000 a month and then 150 short this month, next month you're 300 short, then you're 450 and 600. In a year or two, you find, you're full of debt, right? And you have to go maybe reconsolidate or refinance your home or rely on other people. So it is a lot when it adds up month after month. In fact, we know the difference between bankruptcy and solvency is only about $200 a month now. So it's a problem. It's a problem. So what if, you're not a retired? Let's just say you're a part-time worker. If you're a part-time worker, say you make $2,000 a month. I go by the numbers for Canada, US, maybe Western countries. I mean, if you're in some of the countries, 2,000 a month is not a part-time work. So that's full-time. But let's just doesn't matter what the numbers are, right? Now, if you happen to be in countries like the Caribbean and Africa, Southeast Asia, where the average income $500-600, it's even better for you. It's even easier for you. It's much better. I took the worst scenario, the worst case, the hardest scenario, the higher income countries, right? So if you're part-time and you're making a couple of grand a month, now, if the inflation is 15%, so you really need to raise your income by $300 a month. If you don't, then you're either going to have to contract your lifestyle, or you go in debt, So, again, what's for them to do? I suppose if it's available, they can go, increase hours, do more hours, become full-time. But if that's what they wanted, they would have done it. Obviously, something is there. They don't want to work full-time for whatever the reason. So what option do they have? They don't. So what happens is they'd have to reduce their lifestyle. And I know so many people, them, two people say, what, I sold my car, I didn't need it, or I reduced my car, or I need to get something that's better on gas. There's gas prices. I think I'm in Europe every time I get gas. At the end of the day, we go through this and not paying attention to what's going on, but it's a difficult time out there. It really is. So how do you deal with that? If you're a part-time worker making a couple of grand a month, you need extra $300 a month. What are you going to get, another job? What options are there? There isn't much options out there. You're not going to get a raise at 15% every year. So it's difficult. There's not much option for them. But it's not that hard to make $300 a month with Opulence Global. It really isn't. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on. So, the worlds have some serious problems, and those serious problems, we have some really easy answers to. I look at my commissions that comes out on Tuesday. I mean, there's so many people making, let's say, under $500, right? And a lot of these people I don't even know. I don't even know. Because and some of these people have been doing it, getting this money for 10 years. We're looking at someone today in Asia, and then it came to us because somebody noticed, I don't know how, somebody noticed their income is going higher and higher. Now they're 1,000 a week, and the person didn't really sponsor anybody. So some stuff happened, and it's been happening, and this has been going on for a couple of years with them. So to try to make $300 a month if you got a part-time job, so you're making $2,000 a month, doesn't matter what country you're in, maybe that's a full-time income somewhere else. The numbers don't change. Inflation is inflation. You're going to have to raise it by at least 15%. Some countries are worse. but let's just take the minimum, 15%. So how are you going to do that? Like, how is this part-time people who make $2,000 a month, how are they going to raise their income by $300 a month, right? So there's not much option for those people. If you have a business and your business, I mean, most businesses are struggling, right? Even the restaurants that look like they're busy, a lot of my friends have restaurants, and every time I go, say, hey, you busy? He says, oh, it looks busy because you come on Friday. You come on busy times, but it's a business. It's supposed to be busy, good, steady flow where we used to make a lot of money. And today, people just don't want to come out anymore. It's a lot of takeout, but it's just not enough. So unless you have some niche business, a lot of businesses aren't doing that well either. So what option do they have to increase their income? What option do they have? So I'm taking a look at this and saying, you know what? Let's take a look at a part-timer who needs to make extra $200-300 a month. There isn't much option out there for them to do. In a year from now, the credit card's full. The line of credit start to get full. A lot of banks, by the way, are shutting down line of credits. Did you know that? I mean, especially in the United States, they're shutting down line of credits. Banks are really, really concerned. So that's not going the right direction. But here in Opulence, it's not that hard to make extra $300 a month. And we'll talk a little about, about that in a minute. So what if you are full-time? Now in Canada, I think the average income is about $42,000 a year, right? So you take away the taxes, you're looking at about $2,900 in net income, right? Net income. Let's just say 3,000, right? Net income. I don't even think it's that high, but let's assume it is, right? So now you got an inflation of 15%. So you got to make about $450 a month. Yeah, they got a full-time job, but how do you make that $450 a month? Like, how? So there's no way. There's just no way to do it. So what's happening is, it goes on and your line of credit's filled up and credit card filled, and then you refinance the house if you have a house. Doesn't matter what country you're in, what's going on. Real estate prices are going crazy. So, a lot of people will never be able to own a house. But let's assume you even have one, right? The interest rates are going up. We haven't even accounted for those yet. Just on regular inflation. So if you're making about $3,000 a month, so you need to make about $450 a month. You already got a full-time job. Maybe you have a couple of kids. You got a full life already. So there isn't much option. So what happens? People find themselves in trouble 6 months down the road, a year down the road, 2 years down the road. Bankruptcies on the rise for the last 20 years. It's a new record every year. Forget about the last 2 years. It's just been a bloodbath on the streets. So it's a pretty rough times. And they can say it's going to get worse. So inflation will get worse and worse and worse. Supply chain, the war, all the stuff, right? So how do you ever think about then what are you going to do? See, a lot of people don't because they kind of put on their credit card, right? Especially in Western worlds, you use credit card for everything, right? You want to go buy ice cream and gas or vacation, everything, right? All of us are thinking later on, somehow you're going to pay it off, right? And that never happens. The average credit card, $5,000 credit card, it takes about 5 years for the average person to pay it. And this is pre-pandemic. A $5,000 credit card takes about 5 years. If you pay the minimum, if you take just pay the minimum, I think it's like 20 years, something ridiculous, just to pay that $5,000 card. So now interest rates are going higher. So I look at the world, the world has some big problems, and forget about people who want to go make a mill. I think MLM is changing now, and I think it's for the better. It used to be that, people would get into MLM and there was a lot of hype and, hey, Complan pays $4 million, ours pays $4 million a week. Like, it was just ridiculous, right? Now, they never got that, but that was the type of thing. They looked at, like, my dog is bigger than yours, and people look for those big incomes. I think MLM is maturing up a lot. And as I travel the world, I see people don't really care about that as much. What they care about is, I really want to work from home and just replace my income. That's all I want. Just be at home, replace my income, and be with my kids and my spouse. And I think it's a beautiful thing. At the end of the day, self-employment at home, it's a beautiful thing if we can teach people how to become self-employed. Because people get into the checks go up a little bit for whatever the reason. If you're in a leverage business, sometimes your check goes up, you don't even know how it got there, right? So I always tell people, don't go quit your job just because your check is up, because you really need to understand how to be a full-time network marketer. But let's assume, you follow the forensic format and you got the MO box and you're a full-time networker like I was for 14 years and you're making money. I think it's nice that if you go to Asia, people are not looking. Of course, it's nice to make 10,000 a month, but I think vast majority of people are not looking for that now. They're looking for, hey, can I make, I make $500 a month, so can I replace my income with this opportunity? And the nice part about that is, it's not hard to actually replace the income like that, right? So with yourself, you could do it. You don't even need a team. And eventually a team grows. And of course, we take these middle class people into much higher class, which is nice. But it's really nice that MLM is maturing up now. It doesn't matter what country you're in. And I think people are moving away from, hey, you know what? It's nice. Okay, I still want to get that Rolls Royce, but what I'm really looking for now is replacing my income, especially with this pandemic stuff that happened. People don't want to go out anymore. They want to work from home, internet, all that stuff. So if you have a full-time job and at $3,000 a month, that's the average for Canada anyway, net, then how do you make an extra $450? It's hard to do. And of course, a lot of people can't do it. And they fall behind. They fall behind. They fall behind. And they get stressed. Then they go refinance the house. And consolidate and consolidate all the debt and consolidate again and again. Some people run out of room and bankruptcy comes in. So you got to be aware. So I'll take a look at, okay, the outlook for the decade is higher inflation, higher interest rates, all kinds of problems with the pandemic, war, supply chain, whatever. All of that leads into price increase. And we can really show people how to make up for that. So if the inflation is 15%, right, we can show anybody how to make 15% to make up for that here with us. We can easily show anyone to do that, which they don't have the choice outside. Like I said, we went through it, your job, monetary velocity and energy, just not going to match the inflation. Especially if you don't have a house here, you want to buy a house. Inflation in Canada is 48%, I think, on average. And I think that's underrated. Look at the house that I'm selling, it went up by 80% in 1 year. So if you have this dream of owning a house one day, doesn't matter where you're at, how do you do that? Well, in a job? And there's a lot of people that don't have a house and they want a house and they need a house and they must have a house. And so we bring in this element from the outside. It's a very nice, it's almost like a luxury way of coming into a new space where you don't have to be a hustler out there, try to upgrade your job, or you're always scouring the net and trying to find something and get scammed over and over again. You come into this, beautiful circle of opulence and say, hey, so show me how I can make how can I close that gap of inflation? How can I close that gap of inflation? So I started thinking, just if somebody wants to make an extra $500 a month, so we went over, say somebody who actually has a full-time job, right? Who's making already $3,000 a month. If you're making less than that, it's much easier. I went the maximum. I went the hardest, right? The hardest of the hardest based on the Canadian, which pretty much matches the Western world, right? Canada's pretty expensive here, matches the Western world. So if you're in Canada, if you know, these are the numbers. And then if you're somewhere else that's not as expensive, then it's even easier, right? It's even easier. So if you're making about 3,000 net and you just trying to keep up with inflation, 15%, $450, you know, there's no other options. You can't get a second job, all this stuff. Then what do? Well, the opulence is not that hard. Just all you need to do is just do a power cycle a month, right? Power cycle a month. I look at the list on Tuesday. It's like 10 pages long. People are making that. It's just not that hard. We're not talking go do 10 cycles a month or 50 cycles a month or 100 cycles. No, one cycle a month. Yeah, they can build this thing to a point that it does it automatically. Many of you do it, get it automatically. You work or not, it happens for you. All you know your uplines, but it's happening. So you can, so to make extra 500 a month, it's not that hard at all. And I took the maximum based on Canadian full-time income. So do one cycle a month. Or another way to do it, have 20 people buy FOL from you. It's just 20 retail customers. I was talking to somebody yesterday in Ottawa. They ordered a momentum pack all the time. And they said they sell about, they actually have a electronics store and they fix computers and stuff. But they said they sell about $30 to $40 a month just from the electronics store, people coming in. And, you know, I know a lot of you are ordering a ton of stuff because, you know, we see the big shipments that go out. So try to sell 20 bottles a month in a pandemic infested world where everybody's looking for something better, you know, to protect themselves. It's not that hard. A lot of you guys are doing this. You know, it's funny because I know it's funny. It's kind of interesting. It's the first time it's happening in our business. First time in our history, in our company. Usually, the new applications, the new launches, and the product orders are about 50-50. And it's been like that for 15 years prior to the pandemic. So maybe 16 years, first year of the pandemic, 2020 was even the same. So now, for the first time, when I get my report, I'm absolutely shocked because about 85% of our sales are coming from recurring orders. And things are a little bit slower on the application side. But I see how much products is going out. I see, so there's a lot of you are selling a lot of products, which is great. So to find 20 customers who buy FOL from you, we haven't talked about everything else, right? I got to tell you still with clinical, but I can't. But that product is going to be insane. Okay, I'm off topic. So let's go to what I was talking about. So 20 people buying retail FOL from you, that covers your inflation. That closes the inflation gap. How beautiful is that? A lot of these people, if you're just doing the bare minimum of doing the proper follow-up, caring for them, answering some questions, making sure and asking for a referral, 20 becomes 30, 30 becomes 50, and it just grows from there. If you're doing the most basic things, you're not doing it, and you're not doing it. But I'm just saying, if somebody really, I think, you know, putting in 10, 15 hours a week is better than falling behind $400 a month, $500 a month, isn't it? Putting a few hours into closing that inflation gap, I think it's a lot better than filling up the line of credit and a year or two down the road, after either shrink your lifestyle or bankruptcy or downsize your home or your car. I mean, people complain constantly that I need to reduce my expenses. People are constantly saying that, but I think the better option is, why don't we just find out what the gap is and we'll fill it with opulence. The opulence gives you so many ways of doing that. Power cycle a month. If you're in those islands in Southeast Asia, Africa, many places, Eastern Europe, you don't even need a cycle because, you know, the incomes are so low. I mean, if you want to fill up a gap a 15% inflation gap, say, $600 income, okay, so that's only about $90 a month. Well, a couple of bottles of FOL, you closes that gap, right? So this is just how business people think, and you need to start running your business, running your home economy like president or government runs their. Well, that's a bad example because governments do not know how to run economies. business people, how we run our businesses. You should run your home the very same way, right? Very same way. So here's another way. I know we're getting a lot of action now on the fashion side. I know we got countries opening up, and the main reason why they want to open it up, and especially in Europe, is on the fashion side. So you sell $1,000 worth of fashion through your e-mall. I like call it e-mall, not a shop, e-mall. We used to call your business, your stores, we should call them VDM, Virtual Designer Mall. Virtual Designer Mall. That's what we used to call them, VDMs. That's what we call. I still like that name, VDMs. Anyway, so your e-malls is expanded now beyond the designer mall. Now we have other things. So if you sell $1,000 worth of fashion, at 43% profit, there's your gap. There's your gap. Inflation gap gone. Sell a watch, sell a bag. Many of you guys are doing that. I mean, we do have products with high profitability. High profitability. And fashion, especially luxury, is booming. Even now, try to get a Chanel bag. It's just, you don't either laugh or get sick. You have to wait in line and you pay double the money and you have to wait a year. And if you have to, it's funny because I wanted to get the top line McLaren. I can get it because I got the status, but my friend who has the money, he can't get it because he doesn't have the status. This is what's going on with luxury. So, still $1,000 worth of fashion could be $200 items, or it could be one item. There you go. Start doing. Now I got a presentation the other day, this morning actually. So there is something I'm considering for you guys. It's a program that Scott Lucy introduced to us, and from Europe. And you're gonna like it. It has a lot. It's gonna help with selling on e-commerce and all that stuff. So we do have some products that are highly desirable. So, and look how many options you have here to close that inflation gap, right? You have many options. The guy in the job, how many options does he have? No, seriously, think about that. Now we're going through all these options here, but a person in a job, and they need to close that inflation gap. How do they do that? Get a second job? The person on the pension, how do they close that gap? How do they handle when they have to renew their mortgage and it's gone up by 3%? Maybe that's you, right? You got to think about that. And so you got to prepare for it. Now, we have a platform here called Opulence, and it gives you many ways to generating income, but get to work. You could get going. Here's another thing too. Eventually, this is absolutely mind-boggling to me. It's a real problem worldwide for everybody, and record bankruptcies are coming out of it. And here we have a platform where in the beginning you do some stuff, like I said, do a power cycle, maybe you sponsor a couple of people, get 20 customers, sell $1,000 of fashion, but eventually, you're gonna have people that that you sold to and they sold to, and other people, your entire organization. You're gonna have people that are buying on a regular basis. Just take the bare minimum, smart buy, bare minimum, $150 smart buy. You get 50 people on 100 people on that, and you're already I'm talking entire organization. I mean, we're not talking 100,000 like restaurants and Renee's. You know, entire, if you got 100 people just buying the bare minimum, they're not sponsoring anybody, they're not selling any, all this, just $150. Basically washing their hair and spraying something. So, you know, drinking at fall, not even that would cover it. But at the end of the day, there's 100 people spraying and washing and drinking, you know, buying a bag once in a while. And now you're automatically making about $500 a month. For some countries, that's a full-time income. In Philippines, about 300 as a full-time income. So, but even if you live in Canada, there is your inflation gap just closed, right? Just closed. So first you got to acknowledge what's going on, right? Your eyes got to be open, right? You hear on the news, inflation, this, that, but it kind of goes over your head. You know, it kind of you kind of block it out, but you cannot block it out. These are the realities of what's going on in the world today. And for most people globally, they don't have another option. If your only revenue is your job or your pension or whatever that's you have no control over, how do you close that inflation gap that now they're calling for, going through the entire 2020s at a rate of about 15 to 20% a year? Forget the 7-8%, because that's really, you know, yeah, if you live in your mother's basement just ordering Netflix and Uber Eats, I guess it's 7-8% for you. But if you actually own a house, if you actually own a car, if you actually have to get gas, it's much harder than that. It's funny how the government, the numbers they put out doesn't include any of that. As if we don't need a car really, so forget the gas. You don't actually have to own anything. So if you don't know anything, right, then I guess 7-8%. If you sit in your mom's basement eating vegetables all day and go on the internet, I suppose it's 7-8%. But for most of us, we have some assets, we got kids, we got whatever. You know, we have to put gas in the car, take a travel somewhere, buy some things. Well, the 7-8% do not apply to the masses, most of the world. So what do? There's no option. There's no option. So, but in Opulence, I mean, I could give you a lot more. If I put a project out there, maybe we should do it just for fun and say, okay, give me 50 ways to make an extra $500 a month with Opulence Global. Or even better, whatever country you're in, take your average income and take the 15% inflation. And for some countries, maybe $50, some countries, maybe 500, right? And give me 20 different ways of how you can close that gap, and you'll come up with 50 different ways in Opulence, because we just got a vast business. When you start to circulate your mind and look at your business a different way, start exploring, oh, these products, I can sell this. You know, I know people for that. You know, there's an organization, I can pitch this. So once you start getting a forensic box and start smiling down and putting 2-3 hours every couple of days in, and all of a sudden, you know, you start to pick up a few customers, and next thing you know, they're excited. I heard again, was it today? Yeah, today. You know, everywhere I go, I hear so many unbelievable testimonials. Oh man, see some of those pictures that come up. But these people getting results, right? We know people like that. You know people like that. You just haven't called them yet. You know people like that. You just haven't called. You haven't got started yet. Let's go. You got to get going. Let's go. Hey, look, inflation's not waiting. Inflation's not waiting. Right? So the interest rates are not waiting, and everything is getting more expensive. If you're expecting the government, your boss, your job to close that gap, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So unfortunately, for most people around the world, they never opened their mind to be self-employed. You did. They didn't. So they don't have an option yet. I think when the recession hits, we're going to get more of them on board, because then a lot of people get pressured. And I've seen this happen at least twice in my 33 years. Every time economy collapses, some people wake up and say, okay, I need to do something, right? Some people go bankrupt. Some people just reduce their lifestyle. Some just complain. And there are some people say, hey, no, I need to do something. And we get those in our industry, and the industry expands, right? So the recession is coming. You have all the solutions. You have a global business over the border. Business beyond border. Imagine 200 countries. And you can build this anywhere. How many companies can say that? Right? So we have an option for whether you're a retiree or a job person to be able to deal, at the very least, handling inflation, at the very least, not get poorer, at the very least, maintain our lifestyle, if not expand it, maintain our lifestyle. At the very least, not worry about when the bank says, okay, your variable mortgage, by the way, they don't even tell you, that? Like somebody told me the other day, I know this, like my bank account was lower than it should be. And my mortgage, and I didn't know why. When he looked into it, I found out that his mortgage payments are getting higher and higher. And because we've already had like 4 increases in Canada, and the US is about the same. So, and they don't even call you. They just raise the mortgage fees, and then they just take it. So, we have a chance. We have a platform, and you got a business that you can deal with all that. All right. So I think that's what I wanted to talk about tonight, and hopefully, you open your eyes a little bit and find out that the outlook in next, decade just got started, right? We got like 7-8 years of this. That's the predictions. Don't get depressed, get excited, because it's good when the economy collapses. People have a lot of problems and we have a lot of solutions, right? So as long as you're out there giving you solutions to a lot of people, right, you're going to get some of them on board. By the way, when things go down, there's always a group of people that are becoming rich, right? And those people are looking for better products, better service, especially service. The reason why people go online now is because they hate going to stores. They hate dealing with people. They find that, I think people are more cocooning. Everyone wants a private service. I know you guys may not be into a lot of this stuff, but, when it comes to VIP services, I'm part of a few of them. I can tell you there's more and more VIP services being launched because, people who have the money, they don't want to deal with, what's going on out there. They want a private service, whether it's delivered to my house or a person come get it or private club. So a lot of these people coming up, and you can service them. You can service them if you're working your business and getting better every day. All right, with that, we'll pass the call to our awesome hostess. Hopefully it was helpful to you. If it was, go to YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the bell button. Share this link with everybody, because it's on YouTube now. Link it. Share it with all your team. Let them understand what's really going on. Everything I just told you is not exclusive to Canada. It's going on in your country. Doesn't matter where you are. It's happening all over the world. So share the link. You guys should get together. This is something I did always. If we had a conference call, back in my days, we had no internet. So there was no such thing as websites, internet, Zoom. We did things over a cell phone, and the cell phones were like this long. So we had a conference call. We used to put on speakerphone. We used to record it on the cassettes. Imagine that, cassettes. It wasn't a CD, it was like cassettes, right? We used to record it. And then we had speakerphones. And then what we used to do right after that, we used to do a call with our team and play the cassette, and we discuss it. So you guys should do the same thing. Send the link out of my forensic channel, or even better, get the team together, play it and discuss it, and strategize. With that, get the phone back up to Nora on Zoom and YouTube. If you have anything to say, this is the time to do it.
Thank you so much, Ramin. We get a lot of value. It's priceless training tonight, as always. And if you guys have any questions, write it on a Q&A box.
Maybe you can tell me, in your country, what's the average income? 15% inflation. So if average income is 1,000, 15% of that obviously 150 bucks, right? And how you can make extra 150 bucks in your country to close that gap. Every country is different.
You can write your answer in the chat. Oh, don't be shy.
Participation is good, folks. Flow, come out your shell, flow. Watch for the chat group. What's the average income in your country? Just put that in the chat group. I think Caribbean, some countries are about $500-600.
Come on, come on.
No worries, we can close the call if that's the case.
Thank you so much, Ramin. And Thailand is 600 US.
There you go. So 15% inflation, that's about 750 bucks, right? Sorry, 75 bucks. So no, $90. $90. $90 is not that hard to make a month here, right? It isn't, right? So $400 for ever, okay. 4,000 a month. That's in Canada. Yeah, it's about that. That's before taxes, though. After taxes, less than that. So 1,000 Malaysia. That's RM, Malaysian money, I guess. INR 50,000. Sounds like it's oh, rupees. Okay, rupees. Yeah, I lived in New Delhi. So again, do the inflation on that. I don't know. I think inflation in India is higher than Canada. But take the 15% and then ask yourself, it's not that hard to make it in opulence, but if you have a job, it's kind of difficult to do. $750 a month, Joy, that's in Australia, I'm assuming. Charlene, 600, EC. That's EC dollars, right? I don't know what is that in Canadian dollars. Some islands are 3-to-1, some are 2-to-1. So, all right, take us home.
Trinidad, 2,500 a month.
Trinidad. I think that's Trinidadian. That's Trinidadian dollar. I think. I don't think that's like Canadian dollar or US dollar, right? Okay, approximately $300 in Kenya. Okay, so you know what? That's what I'm saying. If you live in those countries that incomes are lower, it's easier to close that gap, isn't it? I mean, Canada, okay, you're gonna need $450 a month. It's not that hard. It's easy to do. In Kenya, 15% of that is about $45. It's not hard to close that gap in Kenya, right? So that's what I'm talking about. The rest of the working world, they don't have a lot of options. You do. We do. I just give you 3-4 of them here. They can come up with 20 different ways to close the gap in these countries, right? All right, 5-to-1. Yasmin says 5-to-1. I guess that's their currency exchange to dollars. Well done, well done. All right, I'm glad you guys are flowing. You guys are flowing. It's good. You guys are flowing. All right, don't fall victim to the inflation, right? You got to close the gap yourself. So let's get going. Dust off your forensic boxes. You got a beautiful lineup of products. Fill it up with names, find it from everywhere, and call them up. Create a script. You need help, call the office, call your upline. It's not that hard. Just make it. You know, what's the nicest way to meet with somebody? Text someone, meet for coffee, meet them for coffee, open your briefcase, text the stuff out. Say, look, this is my business. I'm expanding globally. Need some help? You want to make some money? That's a pretty simple script, right? Hey, here's my stuff. I'm expanding globally. I need some help. You want to make some money? You make some money? Let's go. And they're like, hey, okay, so how do I make money? They give them the presentation, right? It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Kathy Ann says 550 to 1 Canadian dollar. Yasmin. I don't know where that is. Okay, 550 to 1. In Guyana, 600 US. Okay. So again, you know what? It's not hard, right? 15% on 600 US. It's about $75, about $90, right? It's about $90 a month, right? $90. You can sell a couple of balls of FOL, and that closes the gap for you. You know, you start cycling once every 6 months. If you cycle once every 6 months, that closes the gap for you. It's a lot easier to get on your forensic box 1 hour a day, than to be stressed a lifetime because your line of credits are filling up and the banks are calling. All right, team. Have a good night. I better get home. Stay forensic.
Thank you so much, Ramin. Thank you so much. And stay forensic. Before we go, I would like to share some announcement. We have this, let me just share that. QR code. Take a shot out of that and on your screen. I have it on your screen. Can you see it? Hold on. Let me just move this over here. Scan this code and leave a review of our product, the company, or the business, so we can take this on Google. It will take you, when you scan this, it will take it right away to Google. Okay,
yes. Let's go. Go promote the company. 5-star. Let's go, guys. Build up the company. At the end of the day, it's your company. People are going to check that out. We need lots of 5 stars. Go. 5-star everything. Let's tell the world who's the best.
All right. And then the next one is I'm going to show you, ever since I started, I have probably pretty soon I will have a wall of our company banners with, here's another one that we'll use actually at the trade show. And I have every banner of the company that we have, from the investment, from day one, actually. So I will have a collection of this, a different journey of our business. So this is our latest banner, which is available now. You can get yours for your trade show or whatever. If you display, you can actually use this actually as your backdrop when you do the tour. This is awesome because everything actually at the trade show, one guy walked right into it, and I said, so when I asked him how he's doing, how is he? He said, what brought you here to our booth? And he said, I was looking for it. I earn passive income. I'm looking for passive income. So it really helps because we have the product on display. And this is like a quick presentation, right, Ramin? It's like a summary of what we have.
That's right.
So it's all in here in this banner. So grab your banner in your back office, and it's already available. Okay. It should be under the promo material. So again, we still have I'm not sure, I mean, if you're gonna reveal when is this gonna end, but this is extended. Our March Madness is now May, and it's still extended until further notice. So grab this, take advantage of this opportunity and have that free product, and all everything is on Shopping Credit Ultra. Okay.
I can tell you this is coming to an end. It's coming to an end soon. We're working on something big, and but this is a deal you're never gonna get again. The days of free product is coming to an end, folks, because we're changing the business plan a little bit. I'm excited about where it's heading, but you want free products, it's here now, and it'll be gone. It'll be gone forever. So
there you go. All right, so Saturday Lab, we have our LD4, first female LD4, Miss Efra Hazan. So invite people to this training. And I actually have one of my guests in last Saturday's training, and she was loving it. She's from Portugal, and she's gonna launch her business soon with us because she loved the product. I mean, when we were at the trade show, she was examining it. The shoes just grab her, and she looked at it from top to bottom, and I said, oh my God. I said, this is the quality of these shoes is like, I said, you know, it's made from Portugal. I said, I knew it because of that. She saw the quality, the stitching and all that. So there you have it, folks. And we have a new, I don't have a slide for it, the new loafers for men. It's awesome. It's gorgeous. So grab yours also for the men in the house for your Father's Day, or some buy it for your father or loved one. So we also have that available now. That was just released. Okay, for that, folks, thank you so much. And anything else, Ramin?
No, with that, guys, let's get to work. Let's go. Let's build this baby up.
Bye. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone. Again, I'm gonna go back to the QR code. If you haven't taken a picture of that already, please do. Thank you so much. Bring your do a review for us. This one, I'll leave that there for a while until you get a chance to scan. So thank you so much. Have a good morning, everyone, wherever you are in the world.